Hey guys, it's Josh here with Bible Memory Goal, and I've been receiving a lot of different requests from people to do something a little more practical. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit of my process of using memory palaces to memorize parts of the Bible. And we're going to memorize Psalm 46 together, and I want to show you exactly my process of doing it. I'm going to break this up into a couple different videos because I don't want it to get too long. But hopefully this will be something that would be helpful for you. Definitely leave any comments below to let me know what you think, and let's go ahead and dive in. So one of the first things that I do when I think about memorizing an extended portion of Scripture, be that an entire book of the Bible or even in this case just one chapter, what I want to do is I want to find a memory palace location that I can attach to that. It has to be a unique location, and honestly, if we're doing something that is long, let's say the book of Ephesians with 6 chapters, I need to make sure that I'm choosing a location that has enough places. But what I'm going to start doing is by mapping out exactly how many places I'm going to need. So with Psalm 46, it's just going to be 11 verses. So I need to find 11 places where I can create this small memory palace. And right now, normally I would do something that's very personal to me, a place that I know intimately well. But for the sake of this exercise, because we all don't share the same experiences, same locations, I'm going to use something that hopefully we can all at least visualize in our head, and that is a golf course. So if you've ever been to a golf course, even if you've only seen it on TV, it really doesn't matter. I just want you to visualize a golf course and try to make it as visually detailed as possible. You can see the trees, you can smell the grass, and you can hear the birds, and you can hear the sound of the golf ball hitting the club or the club hitting the golf ball. So put yourself in that place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 11 spots within that just one hole of the golf course. And then we're going to later in the next video attach memory verses to each one of those. So how do we do that? Well, I want to find ways that I can attach a specific number to that place. Now, we can, debate about whether having specific numbers and chapter verse numbers is important whenever we're memorizing the Bible. For me, it's something that I enjoy. I like being able to know exactly where I can find a specific verse, and this is how I do it. I'm going to place each verse in a specific location that is attached to some sort of image that reminds me of that number. So, if we start off, verse 1, I'm going to imagine that I'm in front of the golf course or the hole right by a tree. Trees or anything that's standing, like that, I would think of as the number 1. So think about that tree. See a huge tree that's right before you get onto the golf course and stand by that tree. That is going to be number 1. Number 2, imagine you step up to the tee box, and if you've ever played golf before, you know they usually have this place where you start hitting the ball. It's called the tee box. And on that tee box, there's sometimes these 2 markers that indicate where you should be putting your ball between those markers whenever you're teeing off. Those 2 markers are what's going to help me remember the number 2. And that's where I'm going to place the second verse of Psalm 46. The third verse, imagine that I take out my 3-wood. If you know anything about golf, if we're dealing with let's say par 4 or maybe an odd par 5, instead of teeing off with my 1, I'm usually going to tee off with my 3-wood. And so I take that 3-wood. That's one of my favorite clubs is that 3-wood or even just a 3-iron. Whatever it is, I want that 3 because that's going to be verse number 3 for me. And that's where I'm going to place that verse is on that 3-wood or that 3-iron that I'm going to be teeing off with. So now we've got 1, we've progressed to number 2 and 3. Keep in mind, we're doing a linear progression because that's what helps us remember, and we could even go forwards and backwards. So now we've hit off with that number 3 wood or that 3-iron, and now we're going to jump into our golf cart. That golf cart has 4 wheels, and so that's what's going to help me remember that this is where I'm going to place number 4. Usually for me, a lot of my placement of verses that have the number 4 are at a table or a car or something that to me has that 4 wheels or 4 legs to it. So jumping into that golf cart, that's number 4. Now, number 5, I imagine that I'm finished with my golf cart, and one of the first things I want to do is I want to pull out my golf glove, the glove that you put on. I forgot to put it on earlier, and so I'm going to grab that golf glove and prepare to hit the next one because this next one is going to be super important for me. And that 5, anything having to do with glove or my hand, is where I would place number 5. So I've put on my glove, and that is number 5. Number 6, imagine that I'm in the fairway now. I'd hit the ball from the tee box. I drove over there, put on my glove, and now I'm in the fairway and I'm looking toward, I pull out my binoculars and I'm looking toward the green and I'm wanting to find out where that flag is. And it's almost like I'm a sharpshooter. I'm taking and I'm looking as close as I can to see where I'm trying to aim. And it's almost like I could take that 6-shooter gun and shoot the flag right where it's at. And I'm using that as my image for the number 6, because 6 for me often has to do with that sharpshooter gun, the six bullets that you can shoot out of a gun. I mean, I know that's old school, but still, that's the image that comes to my mind. If you can think of something else, you're welcome to do that. All right, so now I'm going to come up and I'm going to hit that ball. And one thing you should know about me is I am not great at golf. And there's actually, in my mind, a water feature that goes between me where I'm at and the green on the fairway and going over to the green. And I am such a terrible golfer that odds are when I hit that ball, it's going to go straight into the water. You could take and roll a dice, and every time it hits 7, I'm going to go into the water. And that's the way that I remember number 7 is that water feature, because that water feature, 7 times out of 7, I'm probably going to hit it. If you were to roll a dice and it hits 7, I'm in that water. Again, sometimes it feels like we're pulling this a bit. It's a stretch, but trust me, the more that you get into it, the more that these associations will really start to take hold. So now that I've hit the ball into the water, I'm going to drop it and then I'm going to take another hit again. But again, I'm a bad golfer. So I hit it right into the sand trap. And that sand trap reminds me of the number 8. That's what I'm going to put the 8th verse in, is that sand trap, because just like a little sand timer, right, that looks like the number 8, it's got that figure 8 look to it. That's where I'm at in the sand, because you put sand in that thing. So that's, again, where I remember the number 8 is with that sand trap. All right, now I'm in the sand. I'm about to hit it onto the green. But the weirdest thing, and again, remember when we're dealing with anything having to do with memory, the more weird, the more odd, the more crazy it is, our mind is able to remember that better. So I look onto the fairway and guess what? I see all sorts of cats. I see lions, I see cats, and they're just waiting to grab my ball and run away with it. And for me, the number 9 stands for cats with 9 lives. So anytime I see cats up there, I'm going to remember the number 9. But I'm going to, get everything I can. I'm going to hit that ball so well that I'm going to hit it right into the hole where that flag is. And that's almost like bowling, right? And for me, I almost see the flag as like a bowling pin. So the flag itself is going to be number 10 because to me, in my mind, it's shaped just like a bowling pin. And I'm going to hit that thing and it's going to go straight in before the cats can get to it. And finally, again, I know this may sound weird, but number 11, I get so excited when I get the ball in the hole that I just put my hands up and I'm like celebrating almost like it's a touchdown. And that, though, I mean, it even just looks like the number 11 putting my hands up. So if you visualize that really well, the cool thing is you can go forwards and backwards in any direction, and you can jump in the middle and say, where's number 7? Oh, it's the water feature. Where's number 4? Oh, that's where I put it, the golf cart. And so in the next video, what I want to do is walk us through what it means to encode a verse on that particular location in your memory palace. Now, a couple things, kind of to wrap this up. First of all, as I said earlier, memory palaces are usually better off if they're very personal to you. So if you have been to a golf course, try to think about a particular hole that you really like so that it is very personal to you. You've been there, you've walked that course, and it makes it a lot easier. Second, I've found that it's a lot easier to do this whole setting up the placements before I start memorizing. Because if I don't do that, I'll find myself, just trying to add random places because I ran out of locations, but there's still more verses for me to memorize in that chapter. And the final thing I'll mention is that as you're setting these memory palaces, you also want to find a way to connect the chapter number or the book name with the memory palace itself. So that way you don't forget the location where you put all these places. So for Psalm 46, if I'm using the major system, which I'll describe in another video later. But for me, that stands for rash, right? R-A-S-H. And I can imagine that maybe I'm just walking around the golf course, just scratching. I've got this huge rash on my back, or I don't know. There could be so many different ways to do it. But I want to make sure that if I'm thinking about Psalm 46, I can easily associate that with the location where I've put it. All right. that's a simple start to how I would use a memory palace for memorizing extended portions of scripture. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer those in the description below. And as always, this is just one of many different ways that you can memorize the Bible. I'm not saying this is the best way. Definitely not saying this is the only way to memorize scripture, but it is one way. It's unique. I haven't heard too many people that use this method, and it helps you to be able to jump in at any point in a passage of scripture and know exactly where you're at, or hear a passage of scripture and then be able to recite what chapter and verse it comes from. And so far, at least, I've found that to be very valuable. I like that a lot. And if you're creative, even if you aren't creative, it's fun to kind of force a little bit of creativity on you. This is just a great way to go about it. Anyway, give this video a like. Thanks so much, and you guys, God bless.